15 Things You Didn't Know About Pfizer. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, and welcome to another exciting original video presented by Alux.com. Today we're looking at one of the most successful and longest running businesses in the United States, the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer. Pfizer started as a chemicals business called Charles Pfizer & Company in the mid-1800s in Brooklyn, New York. The business was established by German cousins Charles Pfizer and Charles Erhardt. Their business started growing incredibly when they began producing citric acid, which was in high demand from companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi Company. When Erhardt died in 1891, Pfizer bought his share of the company, giving $119,350 to his heirs, and he became the sole owner of the company. Through the years, they have grown and expanded, eventually becoming one of the top 3 pharmaceutical companies in the world, and the largest in terms of research and development. They were made even more successful by the sale of highly marketed drugs like Zoloft, Lipitor, Diflucan, Xanax, and of course, Viagra. Several multi-billion-dollar mergers in the last 2 decades have also helped them increase their market share and expand their product lines. They now sell in 150 countries, and their 2016 revenue was $52.82 billion US. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Okay, that is enough with the background. Let's look at the 15 things you didn't know about Pfizer. Number 1. Pfizer has been around for over 160 years. Pfizer was founded in 1849 and has been a successful company for over 160 years through historical events like the Civil War, the Great Depression, World War I, and World War II. By 1904, the company had total sales of around $3.4 million, which is more than $84 million at today's valuation. They were instrumental in manufacturing painkillers for Union soldiers in the Civil War, and they also developed a process that allowed for the mass production of penicillin in World War II. Number 2. Pfizer was started with a $2,500 loan. When cousins Charles Pfizer and Charles Erhardt started Pfizer in the 1800s, they did so with a $2,500 loan from Pfizer's father. This doesn't sound like much, but $2,500 back in 1849 would be about $60,000 at today's valuation. Number 3. They have paid billions of dollars as a result of lawsuits. Pfizer has been involved in a number of lawsuits over the years and has had to pay out billions of dollars as a result. Pfizer has reached a settlement to pay $965 million to asbestos victims because of their asbestos-containing insulation products that they sold until the early 1970s. In 1994, they were ordered to pay around $200 million when it was determined that their defective heart valves led to the deaths of around 500 people. Blue Cross Blue Shield filed a lawsuit as well, claiming that Pfizer used illegal practices like paying doctors to go on Bahamas vacations so they would prescribe their drugs more. They settled the case in 2014 for $325 million. And these are just a few of the lawsuits that Pfizer has been involved in. Number 4. Pfizer's first product was a drug used to treat intestinal worms. In 1849, Pfizer formulated its first product, which was an antiparasitic drug used to treat intestinal worms. The chemist Pfizer and confectioner Erhardt combined their talents to create the drug and shape it into a candy cone to make it more appealing for their customers. Number 5. Lipitor is the best-selling drug of all time. Lipitor, a medicine used to lower blood pressure, is not only Pfizer's most successful drug, but the most successful drug of all time, monetarily speaking. It has over $131 billion in lifetime sales, a number which would be even higher if Pfizer hadn't lost patent protection. The second best-selling drug, Plavix, which is a blood thinner, does not even come close, with total sales of $60 billion. Number 6. Pfizer's planned $160 billion merger was unsuccessful. In 2015, Pfizer attempted to acquire Allergan plc, the maker of Botox, for $160 billion, which would have been the largest pharmaceutical deal ever. The plan was to move Pfizer where Allergan was located in Ireland, so that the company could pay the Irish corporate tax rate of 12.5% instead of America's 35% corporate rate. The deal was contingent on several factors, including shareholder agreement and US and EU approval. The deal ultimately fell through because of new laws that were introduced to limit corporate tax inversions, which is moving a company's headquarters to a different country to get a lower tax rate. Number 7. They lost billions in sales when the patent for Lipitor expired. In November 2011, Pfizer lost U.S. patent protection for their top-selling drug, Lipitor. This opened up the market for generic drugs to be developed and sold in the place of Lipitor. How did this hurt Pfizer's bottom line? Sales of Lipitor went from $5 billion per year in 2011 to only $932,000 in sales the year after the patent expired. Number 8. They provide some free and discount drugs to those in developing countries. Pfizer provides doses of an antifungal drug free of charge to organizations in developing countries that have a greater than 1% prevalence of HIV/AIDS. This drug helps those infected with the virus to avoid a number of fungal infections. They also have pledged to provide affordable access to their long-lasting injectable contraceptive to 3 million women in developing countries, along with up to 740 million doses of their anti-pneumococcal vaccine at discounted rates to those in 41 developing countries. Number 9. Pfizer sold its baby food division to Nestle for $11.85 billion. In 2012, Pfizer decided to sell off its baby food division. Nestle, the largest food company in the world, expected to pay around $10 billion for the division, but after a battle with their French rival Danone driving up the price, Nestle ended up paying a total of $11.85 billion to take ownership. Number 10. Pfizer has received the highest score on LGBT ranking over 10 years. Pfizer is an inclusive and diverse company that has received a 100% rating every year since 2004 on the Corporate Equality Index that is released by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. The index evaluates businesses based on their treatment of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered employees, customers, and investors. Pfizer received the highest score possible for the LGBT ranking. If you want to check out another company that consistently gets a 100% LGBT rating, click in the upper right-hand corner to watch our video of 15 things you didn't know about Apple. Number 11. Pfizer made the 7th largest merger and acquisition deal in history as of 2016. In the year 2000, Pfizer acquired another fast-growing pharmaceutical company named Warner Lambert for $111.8 billion. As of 2016, this was the 7th largest merger and acquisition deal in history. This merger expanded Pfizer's pharmaceutical offerings and added other well-known products, including Listerine mouthwash and Schick shaving products, to their portfolio. Number 12. Pfizer got into a legal battle over generic Viagra. Pfizer had 2 patents for Viagra, one for the chemical formation of the drug, which expired in 2012, and another protecting their rights to Viagra as a treatment for erectile dysfunction, which is scheduled to expire in 2020. In 2010, Teva Pharmaceuticals USA announced a plan to start selling generic Viagra in 2012, when the first patent expired, but Pfizer sued them, saying that this wouldn't be legal until the second patent expired in 2020. After a 10-day bench trial in 2011, the courts ruled in Pfizer's favor. However, the two companies then came to a compromise that Teva could sell generic Viagra starting in 2017, with a royalty from each sale going to Pfizer. When the patent expires in 2020, there may be numerous competitors in the generic market. Number 13. Their CEO is also their largest individual shareholder. You may not know the name Ian C. Reid, but he has been the CEO of Pfizer since 2010. He has worked for the company for his entire career, starting in 1978 as an operational auditor. He is also the largest individual shareholder in the company with 1.2 million shares of Pfizer, which is worth around $40 million. At the 2016 annual dividend rate of $1.20, these holdings also bring in around $1.4 million in income a year, in addition to his annual salary of around $2 million. Number 14. Viagra brought in $24 billion in revenue for a 13-year period. From 2003 to 2016, Pfizer made over $24 billion in revenue from Viagra alone. However, it is only Pfizer's 6th top-selling drug. Its number 1 top-selling drug is Lyrica, which is an anti-epileptic drug. Lyrica brought in nearly $5.2 billion in revenue in 2014 alone. Number 15. They were accused of unapproved human testing in Nigeria. When an outbreak of measles, cholera, and bacterial meningitis occurred in Nigeria in 1996, Pfizer representatives administered an experimental antibiotic to around 200 children affected with the disease. More than 50 children reportedly died in the experiment, while many other children developed mental and physical deformities. While Pfizer maintains that these results could have been attributed to the diseases rather than the medication, it appears they failed to obtain signed consent forms and to notify the children's parents of the treatment. Pfizer was sued by the families of the children and the government of Nigeria and were accused in the lawsuit of unapproved human testing. The case was settled out of court in 2009 for a sum of $75 million. Now that you've learned more about Pfizer, do you think they should lower their prices so that certain medicines can be more accessible? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for sticking around to the end, dedicated Aluxer. Here's a bonus fact just for you. Pfizer is known primarily for their prescription drugs, but they also have a number of common over-the-counter products in their portfolio that you might not know come from them. Among this list are Chapstick, Advil, Dimetapp, Preparation H, and Robitussin. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.